They are aware that they are 1/16th of the way.
They're 1/16th of the way.
Right to our right, we're right outside PNC Arena between Carter Finley and PNC. They've painted the areas where you put the warning flags.
Mm-hmm.
There are 16 squares.
Yep.
They have filled in the first one. They are 1/16th of the way. And guess what happens with 16?
You hoist the cup.
That's when you hoist the cup. They're not counting down to a first round victory or an appearance anywhere. They're counting down towards winning the whole thing, and I love it. The Canes are up 1-0 in the first round, and my favorite part about it is they're not happy with it. Right? There's a lot of ways they could have played better. It's in a lot of ways exactly what I asked of them, and what I mean by that is I asked them for their Kobe Bryant response. I literally talked about this last week, excuse me. I literally said after they win game 1 or game 2, after they go up 3-0, if anyone is smiling and someone, hey, or isn't smiling, and a media were to ask, hey, you're up 2-0, or hey, you won game 1, why aren't you smiling? I want the answer to be something along the lines of, job finished? No. Right? So there's a legendary Kobe response. I don't think the job's finished.
Job's not finished.
Job's not finished.
Job's not finished.
16 wins. That's when the job is finished. Until then, I want them to be very, very, their own harshest critic, which is why I loved the response from Rod Brind'amour after the game. I loved the response from Evgeny Kuznetsov after the game. I loved the general demeanor of the Canes, which was, we're not giving it back, right?
Yeah.
It's we won the game. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it at our house, but wasn't good enough. Here's Rod Brind'amour after the game.
I mean, we weren't great, that's for sure. I think there's a perfect example of a team that's been playing playoff hockey for a month and a team that hasn't. And it was like, whoa, and we just couldn't get going. And then I thought, as the game kind of wore on, we started getting kind of up to speed with how it's going to be.
That right there is a call to arms.
Mm-hmm.
That right, you can't be in the playoffs saying they're more playoff-ish than we are. That is a call to arms. That is a gathering cry. That is a hey, we better step it up. And I don't know if anybody said it better than Evgeny Kuznetsov, who, by the way, took one shot to score his first playoff goal with the Canes. He opened it up. He set the tone. He did all of that. They won the game. And then afterwards, he still sounded like somebody with a lot to prove as a team. Here's Kuznetsov.
We got to be better. That was unacceptable for us. And be honest, I'm not a fan of the celebrating this stuff like after one win or whatever. I got to make sure that, we keep it emotions pretty even, because it's going to be long series and it's going to be a lot of tough moments. So we got to make sure we control the emotions and energy.
That is where the Canes should live.
Mm-hmm.
And we won a game, and it was unacceptable for us.
It's like you won a game. Cool.
It's not even just like, hey, we're moving on to the next one. It's no. That was unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you get the win. And I say that in respect to this. And no disrespect to the Islanders, and you still have to focus on the Islanders, and you still have to win round 1. They're aware that effort probably doesn't win a game in the second round or in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the Cup Finals if you get there.
Why not even win you this series? Let's be real.
True.
Win you this series?
You turn in 7 of those, you might be kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
So that's where the unacceptable comes from. I wanted that response after that game, right? I mean, Freddie bailed him out a little bit. Let's go ahead and give Freddie his flowers.
Call what it is.
He played really gosh darn well. But, they had gone 12 minutes with 2 registered shots. Like there were very uncharacteristic things of the way the Canes have been playing. And because you win, you get the context, right? If it's a loss, it's just a loss. It's a disaster. You get really upset. You try to fight your way out of it. But with the win, you have to have the win with context. Right? It's one of those games that the more I talk about this, the more you zoom out, the more you have to work on, right? Because when you're zoomed way in, when you have to tell the story of the game in 3 sentences,
mm-hmm.
you say the Canes won. And you're like, all right, cool. Zoomed all the way in, looks pretty good. You zoom out a little bit, it's like the Canes won, but they got outshot pretty considerably.
Yeah.
You zoom out even further, the Canes won, but Freddie had to bail them out, and they scored one early, then went on a long scoring drought until the third. There were a few points where, the Islanders rang the post or had opportunities that they didn't take advantage of. The further and further you zoom out, the more and more work there is for the Canes. The best news of it is you got the win, and you get to go improve on it. Right. Now it's a series. Now you have to go in and play. And that's what I'm looking for tonight. If after tonight, Rod Brind'amour is saying they looked more like a team that's been playing playoff hockey than we have, I start to get mad.
Yeah.
Game one, it's like, as long as you recognize it, I'm cool. As long as you have the proper sentiment, I'm all right with it. If you don't fix it between game one and game two and get on that treadmill set to high, then you start to look around and go, what the heck's going on? Right? There's too many veterans. There's a reason why you brought in Kuzi. There's a reason why you brought in Gensel. There's a reason why this is the group you've decided to run with, and it's because you have the mix of Canes culture. Been here before with the Canes. You brought in two other guys with massive amounts of postseason success at previous stops. You mix that all together. You can't have two games like you had in game one, even though it's a win.
And throw Orlov into the mix too. He was on that team in 2018 with Kuznetsov in Washington. Because here's the thing, Kuznetsov, like you mentioned, he's been there, he's done it.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Gensel, been there, done it. And
have the hardware.
And they have the hardware. Their name is etched on the cup. I know Jordan Stahl, his name's on the cup, but that was way early in his career.
And by the way, Jordan Stahl can pass along every. There's nothing that like Gensel can say that Stahl can't. I still want Stahl to say, this is what it's like. This is what you need to do. And he needs to be one of the guys in the locker room after game one going, great win, celebrate every win, with a hard, however, with that big change into, here's what we need to do. Here's what we need to do to get better.
And I know it was Brady Shea and Freddie Anderson were at the podium post game talking to the media. You could tell they were kind of like, yeah, we won, but there's a lot to improve upon, which I guess you could say is a good thing because the Islanders came out firing. Like, they threw their fastball, and guess what? Walked away with an L. So I think that's got to be also the thing if you're Carolina. It's like, wow, you ramp up your game to match their intensity. Watch out.
I love stealing a game. I love having the ability to steal a game where you don't bring your A game, because obviously it's a disaster if you lose and you don't bring your A game. You can salvage it with the win, which is what they did, right? You can be outplayed for 20 minutes in the middle of the game and still win. That's a sign of a good team. It's just not something you want to become used to or depend on or make it your norm.
You don't want to settle for it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's, as long as you're mad, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
as long as you're appropriately mad about it, I'm good. And as long as you appropriately walk into the stadium and see that there's 15 flags that still need to go in, I'm good, right? Because as we've said from the very beginning, it is Stanley Cup or bust for this Canes team. It's not win one game in the first round to open your postseason or bust. That doesn't sound as good. It doesn't fit as good on a T-shirt.
All business tonight.
All business.